Now, before I give you the list, let me give you the formula. That's how I got this list. A little formula that my teacher, Mr. Schoaf, gave me when I was 25 years old. I've used it all these years. I also belong to a little group. We do business around the world. I've shared it with them. We all use it now wherever we go. It's a simple little formula, but I think you'll find it very valuable. Here it is. There's usually about a half dozen things that makes 80% of the difference. There's usually about a half dozen things that makes 80% of the difference. Great formula. Now, it's not exactly half dozen, it's not exactly 80%, but you get my concept here. Here's another way to put it. Keep looking for the few things that makes the most difference. For your good health, there's not 1,000 things you have to do. Not 1,000 things every day. I'm telling you about a half a dozen good health practices, and you'll take care of most of your health challenges. Okay? If you're going to set up an office, there's not a checklist of 500 things you need to look at every day. I'm telling you, there's about a half a dozen. A few things will take care of most of it. Now here's the challenge. Once you've found the few things that takes care of the most of the challenge, now spend most of your time on those few things. This we simply call time management. In the 2-day leadership weekend, one of my major subjects is time management. Here's what I call it. The best kept secret of the rich is what? Time management. What an incredible discovery I made one day when I found out that rich people have about 24 hours a day. Right? And poor people have about what? 24 hours a day. Wouldn't that drive you mad till you found out what the difference was? How could you sleep nights till you found out what the difference was? Both have equal time, but an incredible difference in outcome. What makes the difference? Same time, but a totally different outcome. It's called time management. And here's part of it in a nutshell. Look for the few things that makes the most difference, then spend most of your time working on those few things. In our leadership series, here's what we learned. Here's why a lot of people don't do well. They major in minor things. They spend too much time on things that don't count. And what else? They spend too little time on things that would count. They've got the ratios mixed up. So we teach our children what? Don't spend major time on minor things, things that don't count. And don't spend major money on minor things, things that don't count. It's easy to get the ratios mixed up and suffer the consequences. In the last 10 years, a guy's bought 2 tons of doughnuts and 2 books. And he wonders why his life is devastated. Right away, we would come up with the answer, couldn't we? He spent far too much money on what? Donuts. Now, both donuts and books are okay, but this guy spent far too much money on donuts and not enough money on books. I'm telling you, that is the difference. The best kept secret of the rich. Don't spend too much money on things that don't count. Don't spend too much time on things that don't count. And don't spend too little time on things that would count. It's called the time management challenge. So, the few things, the half dozen, takes care of the big share of it. Good formula to use. Here's what we call these, half dozen few. Basics. Basics, fundamentals. If you're going to play basketball, right? You're going to be a pro someday. Hey, you got to master the fundamentals. Not 1,000 things, a few things you get very good at. Then you add your own flair and your own personality. But hey, if you want to do something extremely well and get well paid, you master the fundamentals and master the basics. Now, here's what's exciting about the fundamentals of life. Just jot that down. The fundamentals of life. Here's what's exciting about the fundamentals of life. Number one, there's just a few. There's not 1,000. There's just a few fundamentals of life and living well, success. Just a few fundamentals. Here's what else is exciting. Once you know them, you know them. Once you got it, you got it. Okay. And here's what else is exciting. There's no new ones. So you don't have to worry about being surprised. Because fundamentals are what? Old. 6,500 years of written history gives us the fundamentals of life. And these fundamentals are old. You got to beware of somebody who comes along with new truth. Say, no, truth is not new. Truth is what? Old. Old. Now, there might be a new way of looking at it, maybe a new way to apply it to the 20th century, but just because you've discovered it, it isn't called new truth. So truth is old. Beware if somebody says we've got a new fundamental. Say, no, that sentence doesn't even make sense. So be a little suspicious. Wouldn't you be suspicious of a guy who said we're manufacturing antiques, right? You got to come and see our plant work. You say, no. No, you can't manufacture antiques. Antiques are what? Old. Okay, so the stuff I'm going to talk with you about today, this stuff's old. Let's maybe take a new look at it and see if we can understand a little more about it, but let's talk about some old stuff, some old fundamentals, right? Basics, major pieces of the life puzzle. How long written history of human life? 6,500 years. So, basic stuff, fundamental stuff. Now let's go through it.